Right, we'll kick off. Thanks everyone for coming. Thought Chris put in a fabulous performance, first 5-6 rounds. Liam then came back into it. Obviously, fair play to Liam. We know he's resilient. We know he came to fight as well.
Is Liam here?
He's not here.
So why are you lying?
Go on.
No one came back into anything. It was complete domination from round 1 to round 12.
Obviously the Welsh crowd were brilliant. Thank you for all the press for coming, amazing turnout. We'll open up questions. Firstly, I think maybe Carlo wants to say something, and then Roy, and then Adam, and then we'll open up.
I thought it was a masterclass. I thought that especially the work with the left in the early stages before it got injured. The fact that I think anyone sitting ringside and when they saw the right eye closing and the left wasn't being used anymore was pretty obvious that it was a one-armed Chris Eubank in there. What impressed me more though was the defensive moves, and that's if you look at I would love to see the stats on actually punches thrown and connected by Williams.
I'd love to see the stats on the headbutts and
and
chokes that connect that there.
That's part of the second part of the statement.
First of all, credit to Liam for fighting the 12 rounds. He promised before that he would fight a dirty fight. He did fight a very, very dirty fight. I thought the ref could have taken points earlier to maybe stop that in let's say, a closer contest, and could have been decisive moments. But is what it is. Credit to him for putting up the 12 rounds, and he's a family man. Good luck to him in the future. We move on. We've said this year's the big year. It's obviously kicked off in the right way, and we're looking forward to the big fights that will keep coming. Tonight was a big fight. We're not putting it down, not after the fight saying, oh, tonight was, we built it as a big fight. It was a big fight, and it was a great performance.
Roy?
I'm just very proud of Chris. To see the improvement on the things that he always improves on, to see him to improve every time we get together. And, I'm just, like I said, you couldn't ask for a better student of the game, somebody that wants to learn, that goes out and shows what they learned. It's very difficult to do, especially when somebody like me is asking them, but he goes out every time and he impresses me every time I see him. So I'm very happy with the performance, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
From a TV point of view, I thought it was a fantastic build-up. It was exceptional all week in Cardiff. I want to thank Chris and his team and Liam and his team. I thought it was brilliant, and the crowd tonight, phenomenal. This is what we want to do, put big fights on with the atmosphere here was great.
Great for who?
Huh? I thought, listen, did you not enjoy it?
Speak for yourself.
Did you not enjoy it?
I'm sure someone threw something at me on my way into the ring.
Well, apart from that, I thought you might sort of enjoy the pantomime villain. But I thought the fight was. I thought Chris was brilliant for the first few rounds. I was surprised he didn't sort of push for the stoppage. Credit to Liam for sort of hanging in there. And look, Chris goes on now. He fights for a world title. Hopefully next fight. Give it a hand, yes. I thought the left hand was brilliant in the first 4 or 5. Obviously, that's obviously the reason. But Liam, huge credit for sticking in there, toughing it out, and yeah, look, we're really pleased with the event. We've got a fantastic February, and we'd like to get Chris back in for a world title in the next 3 or 4 months when that hand's healed up.
Open up for any questions for Chris.
October Red Boxing, I'd just like to say congratulations on your win, Chris, well done. Congratulations to the coach. Your evolution, the change in style, talk to us a little bit about that, because we saw once again a new and evolved you, a calm, collected boxer, a boxer that showed that IQ. What did you expect from Williams, and how was you able to counteract that? Because you did almost get him out of there in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to show, I came into this fight wanting to show a different side to myself anyway. I didn't want to knock him out and finish the fight in the first round. And I probably could have done that if I pressed it, those first 3 knockdowns. If I really pressed, I probably could have done it. But, you know, people, I'm so sick of people saying, oh, he doesn't have a jab, he doesn't have any foot movement, he doesn't have any defense. I'm like, you know what, let me show these guys something. Let me show them a different side. Let me work on the things that me and Roy have been, you know, practicing for all this time, you know. So that's what I did.
We talk one more question. We talk about game plan. We saw that he's quite a relentless fighter. He likes to push forward. You were able to catch him with a nice hook and an uppercut, and he kept on falling into that shot. Was that part of your plan?
We knew he was going to come dirty. We knew he was going to try everything he could to take the fight to me, whether it was in or out of the rules of boxing. But we dealt with it, you know. I don't complain. You know, I'm upset the referee didn't take a point, at least one, during that fight for the amount of headlocks and headbutts and everything else that was going on. You know, he's pushing his hand up into my face a couple of times. I actually had to bite him at one point.
Wow.
I never bitten anybody in the ring before. I bit him.
Cash out style, was it? Almost.
He put his arm around my neck and was squeezing my neck, and his glove was kind of close to my mouth, so I gave it a bite as hard as I could. Well, if he's going to fight dirty, I'm going to fight dirty. You know, it is what it is. But, you know, it was a fun fight.
Thank you.
Chris, Matt from Into Boxing. Is the fact that it went the full 12 rounds a little bit sweet, of the fact that you were able to obviously maybe punish him for longer because of everything that's been said in the build-up?
This was a personal occasion for me. It's never personal for me. You know, I'll always shake a man's hand after a fight. I didn't do that. I think this is the first time in my career I've ever not done that. I can't remember if I did it with someone else. But, yeah, I mean, just the things he said, you know, when you start talking about family and, you know, it's unforgivable, you know. And until there's a public apology for the things he said, then, you know, that's how it's going to be.
Do you feel you got that particular thing out of your system? You made your statement?
Absolutely.
Monkey off the back, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I wanted to let him know who I am and who he isn't. You know, boxing is about levels, as they say, and he needed to understand that he is not on my level.
Cal, can you just maybe talk us through about trying to get Chris this world title shot with Marat and Golovkin was?
It's a changing scene, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's sort of half COVID led with the postponement of the fight that was due to take place in December 2029. They're contracted to fight each other. The question is, does that now take place? It's supposed to take place in April. We certainly won't be waiting around. If that takes place in April, that will not be his next fight. That's clear for us. We look at the situation with Andrade moving up. Two gentlemen fighting for that. And, you know, of course, you know, world titles are important. For me, as a promoter, we like big fights. And there's some other interesting names out there. This year is about winning a world championship. But it's also about being realistic on a time plan. And that time plan is something we'll sit down and discuss with, first and foremost, with Chris and Roy, and with our partners on my left. So, you know, that is happening in due course. But it's, you know, you guys have written long enough about boxing to know that something comes up and something gives that certain element. And I always like to judge a fight if it starts a buzz inside me, but I feel the butterfly in my stomach when I hear that fight come together. And there are some fights out there that tickle you, but at the moment there's a few things that we have to wait on in the next couple of weeks. You know, we've been there before, we've been there, we'll be there again, and we deliver before, we'll deliver again.
Chris, what would you like next?
I'm sorry, I can't give a more precise answer at this moment.
Because like you say, Cal, it is too many balls in the air at the minute.
Yeah, in a perfect world, it's a world title shot against, you know, Gennady Golovkin next fight. But that's easier said than done. I understand that. So, you know, it's about, you know, it's about chasing those championship fights, or chasing the big name that the fans can really get behind, you know. No more, you know, no more small fights, no more, not that this was a small fight, but, you know, I had my previous two, they were kind of, you know, they weren't, they didn't captivate the public's attention like this one did, and like we will make sure the future fights do in this summer and the winter. I want to fight at least 3 times this year.
Let me just say something to Golovkin quickly. There was a small bite last night I saw surfaced. I'm surprised no one's picked up on it in here yet. That he called out. He said it was a cheap attempt. Now, if the offer of boxing at Wembley Stadium on Sky Boxer is a cheap attempt, I'd like to see the expensive one. And I can assure you that we at Wasserman are very well funded to put a massive guarantee behind this fight for them. So if that's an issue, if it's the money, which I don't believe it is, because let's be honest, there's not many names or fights on that scale. If you look at what Golovkin's done in his career, a fight at Wembley Stadium, you tick that box, that's a big box to tick, even for a legend like Golovkin. So that's a gung-ho answer to that one. I don't know, I doubt that came from him. I've known Gennady since he boxed in Germany a couple of decades ago. He was a real gentleman. I don't think that came directly from him, but it was a very strange sort of remark to absolutely squash that with a firm boot.
Chris? Rob Hogan from the Boxing Voice. I just want to ask you about your training, your youth style. In your youth, your father sent you over to the Mayweathers, and they trained mostly Philly, shell, counter-punching style. You went through a phase where you were kind of a high-volume pressure fighter. Are you most comfortable now with this Roy Jones Jr. style, highly explosive, athletic? I mean, at times, even some of your mannerisms you're like, boys.
I don't have, you know, a specific style. It all depends on who I'm fighting, and how I feel. You know, I can fight in many different ways. And that's one thing I wanted to show today, was that I'm not just a come forward fighter. I can think, I do have foot movement, I do have a jab. You know, I love the things that Roy is adding to my repertoire. Yeah, you know, it's amazing, even at 32 years old, that I'm still finding, you know, tuning everything that I've already got and adding things to it. It's great.
We have one more question, guys. It's 1 o'clock, it's late, it's been a great night.
Chris, I'm not entirely sure how serious the tweet was, but Conor Benn reacted to the fight today, saying that he fancies his chances at a cap weight.
I put that out there 6 weeks ago, and I was declared for insane, by the way.
Sounds
about
crazy,
6 weeks ago, box last. I did put it out there, I said, in the distant future. So sorry for your reaction, I have to jump in, because I saw that. Mine was 6 weeks ago, and I was declared for insane. It's not the craziest of ideas.
Listen, it's a fight that, if it were to happen, would be, you know, it would be massive. It would be crazy, but it would be, you know, what fight fan wouldn't want to see it? You know, it's two legends, their sons fighting each other, you know, and we're both doing big things in the boxing world.
I'd be very surprised if Conor's serious about that.
Yeah, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't make any sense for right now.
Chris is a massive name. He's going to get a lot of guys calling him out. I think there's also 2 big fights. I know Kel's got a big fight in 2 weeks, and he's been mentioning coming up, so let's see how he does. Billy Joe Saunders is still on the phone to myself and Adam. So there's big British fights out there for him as well.
In a couple of years, you know, when Ben fills out a little bit, you know, and I want to have a bit of fun, I can get it on, but not right now. I mean, that's, you know, that's
Also, if you look at the names that Chris has faced and the names that Conor Benn has faced, they're still at very different points in their career. So when I said that at the time, I actually wrote distant future. Jeff was seen looking at me. I did write distant future, and yeah, of course it's one that's on tongue. You know, I mean, I grew up on it, but I don't think that is totally serious, and I think that's a little bit, his fault tonight. We put it out there, and why not? Keep yourself relevant. Absolutely.
You should probably fight Aberdeen first, I think.
So can I just check if Billy Joe's ringing you up asking to make a fight?
Billy Joe really wants this fight because he knows Chris has gone from strength to strength since the last 4. It's a huge pay-per-view fight, that. It's a huge night. But Billy Joe's got a lot of work to get back. He obviously suffered a big defeat. I think we'll see him fight again this year. And that's the fight for the next couple of years. I don't think it will necessarily be the next one.
Chris, what do you think of Billy Joe, essentially, again?
I don't think much of them at all, as you guys, I'm sure you guys know. Is it a fight that I would take? Yes.
It's a fight we like to promote, yes.
The fight has everything. It has a story. It has it has 2 top-tier fighters that don't like each other. Who doesn't want to see that fight? But it's I don't know. He doesn't have anything to offer, but the defeat he was gifted to me all those years ago. If the offer's there and it's the right time, the right place, and the business makes sense, then let's do it.
In all British contests at the moment, there's obviously Fury, Joshua is still the one that sort of people want to see. But behind that, it's Eubank Saunders too. There's, for me, no question. There's no one that does bigger numbers than that one.
Other than Eubank then.
Absolutely, took the words out. I was going to get a caveat there, but I said this in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you
very much, guys.
Thank you.